Hi amigos, I'm Whitney, la Hechicera del Horror, and this is my creative corner with conjurings to show of makeup, art, and folklore. Now today's feature, I'm a little feral, as you can see. I am a nawal so far. Now the reason why I only have half done and I'm about to get started on this side is because there's a dual part in a metaphoric sense of why this depiction is being shown half and as a guide so I can carry on to this side. Now, what you are seeing is this depiction of this Mexican monster, and some people would believe is a malicious wolf-like creature with red eyes. As you can see, I've got some red undertones and overtones, some shadows. You see some black and gray, other reds. And, you know, there's more to this creature than just being a monster, because the origin term is a nawali, which means it's a shadow soul, a shapeshifter. And it comes from the Nahual Aztec language. And that's where this derivation of this creature has come from. It goes way back to the indigenous beliefs, to the indigenous spiritist way of culture. And so, as I delve into this, I'm going to feather out and keep looking feral. So, this monster has been looked at all throughout time in Mexico as compared to the cryptid, the chupacabra, and the skinwalkers, known to the Navajo and to the Yaqui tribes. And according to their lore, the nawal is not too much different than those things. Some people say that they claim to have personal encounters with this entity, with this being. Some people warn others that the nawal is very similar, because the nawal is like the skinwalker, that it is malicious, that it will do anything to shapeshift, to manipulate you, to think that they can take form as your loved one and prey upon those who just seek to wreak havoc among communities. And it's just been an ancient belief for all time, from the Western native civilizations and down to South America, to Mexico, and those regions. So, before I get too into this folklore, I'm gonna go ahead and blend out some of this feral feature to this side of my face. And so as I do that, I'm using a water-based paint. So I think I'm gonna go ahead, I have a little bit of color here, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with some gray. I'm gonna brush past, I've got a fan brush. I love fan brushes. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and start out so I can get that going here. Because you see, I kind of swoop down. Some people pull up with their wolf features. I like to kind of swoop down. And I'm gonna blend that up, swoosh. So, as I'm feathering this, the good versus evil of this nawal. I've mentioned the Yaqui and Navajo tribes mirror this as a skinwalker, as that entity, as that creature. And people believe, with the similarities and the duality of this creature, is that no one should be out at night. Because of this creature, you're prone to becoming prey to the nawal, the skinwalker, at an odd hour at night. And people strongly believe from this region, the West, well, from the Americas and Native Americas, is that one way that you could lure or attract one is through music, through whistling, and through singing. And it's enchanting them, it's bringing them, you're conjuring them by that way. And some people really believe that these things are there, that they exist, and you're really in for it should you conjure these things, should you attract these things. And so I'm taking a sponge, sea sponge, and I'm just brushing, you know, getting some depth, getting some other color, because eventually I'm going to blend it all and break it down. It's going to get darker. Now, in the lore, and you hear a dog. Is it a good dog or a bad dog? Is it a black dog? You won't know. So, when this dog-like creature is summoned, it's a terrifying, terrorizing taker. That when you're inviting it to not only disturb or destroy your own self or your family, you're inviting it to seize the blood, drink the blood of animals. You're inviting it to eat chickens, destroy cattle, cause disease. According to folklore, that is. Now, with that belief, like I said, it's very much mirrored to the chupacabra in that sense. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of blend in some more wolf-like creatures. Looks here. And I like to use a Q-tip. I feel like you can move things around a little bit with it. I love using my brushes, but I feel like you can blend out, pull color, move it around. And I love doing that. So, it's not always easy to get the look that you want, but you can always play. And that's what I like, because I like to play with different looks. And as I'm playing with the nawal look, I guess I should go ahead and talk a little bit more. Now, some people, for years, depending on where you're from in Mexico, there are variations and stories of disturbances of this thing. Some people believe that from region to region, they have encountered a form of a nawal, a form of a chupacabra, or even like from Texas to Nevada to Mexico. They have reported sightings for many years that cattle has been destroyed and hurt. Chickens have been ravaged by wolves in certain farm areas and towns, and people are distraught, and some people feel like it's not just a regular wolf. Some people feel like they need to blame, well, not they need to, but some people feel that it's a spiritual attack, that they feel that something or someone has conjured this thing intentionally or unintentionally through singing, through song, through whistling. Sometimes, just like people, bad exists. And these things are pretty bad. They can wreak havoc according to story and legends and lore. And according to people in Veracruz, Veracruz. My pronunciation I need to work on a little bit. Excuse me. Of last year in Veracruz, there were sightings reported in the news that people have seen a nawal. And it wasn't just one person, it was like a whole group of people that claimed that they had seen this thing, that they had seen something in a tree. And a group of people went and searching for it. They chased it. You could find the video on YouTube, you could find it online, you can go through and search. People were chasing what they were thinking was a nawal, and they thought they had seen it in a tree, and it was looking down, and it was gray. People had described it as this gray, dark thing, and it was going to attack someone. It was going to attack something. And so these people and children, women, children, men, they all banded together to try to go after this thing. And there was a UK source that had reported this as well. And of course, last year, this was when the summer was a lockdown because of this pandemic. Now, while the world was in a frenzy, I don't recall hearing news on folklore. I don't know. As much as I love it, I guess it got kind of swept under the rug by Western news because of everything was so fresh and how everything was being dealt with sickness here. But I just found it so funny how that entity, that creature, that whatever you want to call it, if it's in folklore, if you believe in it, you know, I don't know what to say. It's just crazy to think that something so symbolic would be brought to the table. People would conjure up or talk about bringing some kind of awareness to this thing, this entity, this nawal. During a time of world sickness and craziness, has just been wreaking our global senses and heightening so many sensitivities. Because, like I said, the nawal is a threat to health. It's a threat to mankind. In Mexico, some people really fear this monster and respect it. Some people believe that no one should ever whistle or sing or conjure this thing. Unintentionally even, just to go out at night. They feel it's not safe in certain areas, and it's not safe to try these things, to try and persuade others through song. But I want to talk a little bit about what's not so scary is that not so much about the taker of this thing, but a little bit more in the spiritual sense of the nawal, is that some people really believe in the hechiceros, the sorcerers that help people, these brujas, brujos, that carry power, these gifted givers. And that these gifted givers have the power to help people in times of need. Some people really feel compelled to reach out to brujas, hechiceras, hechiceros, all women and men with different gifts to help their communities. They go to them because they feel they have the power to protect and the power to heal. And some of them believe that they can shapeshift into a nawali. Some look wolf-like, some look like coyotes, but it's more in a metaphoric sense. because of their cultural practice. They feel that there are spirit guides, spirit animals, totem animals, and that those totem animals and those guides, they help protect. They help protect and provide love. And I think it's so beautiful to think that these people could have such a gift of transcendence, that this remarkable gift of love and healing and protection is a phenomena in its own, to know that someone could believe in something above them, animalistic, that these people could heal in that sense. So as you can see, I've got a little color going on, a little bit more yellow, a little bit more red. And when I mentioned that the nawal was red, with red eyes, and that was more of a scary thing, when actually, in the spiritual sense, color is everything. Color is beauty. Color is aura. And in the cultural, spiritual healing beliefs is that when the rituals do their makeup, the rituals of their makeups, some people do it, not all, but some of the makeup is colorful. Some of the makeup is Aztec derivations, Nahuatl belief, and the Noah, the Mixtec, the Zapotec. Some of these people believe in, and I can't say 100%, but some of them definitely like to use that spiritual transcendence of connecting with spirit guides of animals. The puma, the coyote, a wolf, lechuzas, owls, that's what a lechuza is. There's just so many different things in connection to animals and spirits in the spirit worlds that people like to think that is powerful to help guide people and loved ones. And animals aren't intuitive, because in the spirit world, sorry, I've got hair everywhere. So I guess it's because I'm feral, right? So anyway, these creatures, there is a sense that people believe that animals are really good at connecting to the other world, the other side. And that these things can track what is evil and to dissuade the evil away from the person, the people, or whoever that these hechiceras, sorcerers, hechiceros are trying to help those loved ones, those people in community, to detour, even if it means that they believe in the dual complexity of the nawal. Have you ever thought about that? Is that a nawal of nawalism, these hechiceros could be helping people to reflect and deflect on themselves and deflect away from the nawales, which were the bad ones, that are these dark feral ones. Now, some, again, region to region, would believe that this is true, that this is a complex duality that exists. It's almost metaphoric, right? Because you have good and evil. You have good entities, you have bad entities. You've got people helping good people, and you've got bad people helping bad people every day in the world. And that in itself in nature is very much layered in beliefs, especially in folklore, and especially in spirituality. People feel that sense of power, good versus evil, is always strong in folklore, and it's always strong in the world. That the nawales, these monsters, are at battle with the nawalism of these sorcerers, these hechiceros. And I feel like that's very symbolic of what goes on in today's world. A lot of good versus evil, right? So I'm at the point of blending now with my feral look. Oof, excuse me if you hear something rumbling. I had some pizza and chicken wings that I pretty much devoured. And not in the sense of blood-sucking in a curdling sort of way of, no, I don't roll that way. It's just everything's cooked. I am not a nawal. But I apologize to any vegan out there. I respect that, but I'm not quite. I'm sorry. That's the way I eat right now is not in the nature of what others would do and agree with, but I mean, I can't help what I like right now. And I like my pizza and chicken wings. So I'm feathering out my darks because I am trying to make like this black wolf, this layers of color, because you know, when you think about it, our skin tones, because I'm trying to keep a little bit of my natural tone here, and we're all in various tones, and that's what I love as an artist, as a makeup artist, and observation of color, is that when you look at your own complexion, you have so many tones. I'm an olive person. I have olive and tan in my skin, and my hair looks black. You would think it's all black, but actually I've got some reds in my flesh. I've got some reds in my hairs, and there's a Nahual barking right now. So, like, yes, you do have all of this. So I have these tones in my flesh. I have these dark tones, and I just thought I would like to bring out these various tones and bring them to life. And sometimes, you know, when things are a little feral looking, there's so many tones to share for. And you know, I really like that we have, you know, wrinkles in our skin sometimes, because there's so much you can do with makeup, because that's what I did here on this side. I accented those wrinkles a little bit. So I broke it down. I'm up here. And then I'm gonna break it up and blend it. And I love working with alcohol-based paints, but today, like I said, I am using water-based because it's just so easy just to wash off. Maybe one day I'll bring a makeup on and do some alcohol-based paint. But for now, I feel like it was a good start for my first video to do a water-based paint. Because yes, this is my first video. This is different. I've done lives. I am, as I said, I'm an artist and makeup artist. I've been in film. I have worked in film for, wow, over a decade, something like that. More than a decade. But I am not sure how to give out my age. Nah, age is just a number, right? We're all young at heart. So I am taking, again, my favorite thing to use is a Q-tip. Dark, making it kind of subtle and shaping under my nose. And I'm going to use a little bit of breakup. I'm going to use some yellow at the bottom. I know it looks, but you see, I got a little bit of wrinkle going on. I like to break up some stuff here. Like a little bit of shadow. Because, like I said, the meaning is shadow soul, shadow people, shadow creatures, shapeshifters. I'm doing my best to shapeshift into this nawal. So anyway, I was talking about the color, right? How we all have different, variations of pigment in our skin, and that's definitely what I'm attempting here is to share some of this variation of pigment. Excuse me. Have some water as I get into this. So, throughout vampires and versus werewolves, right? That is the main thing you think of when you think of a wolf-like creature fighting something. Is a vampire, but people believe that there's curses in the lore, in the sense of, especially in entertainment, people combine the two creatures somehow. But in these beliefs that the werewolf has transcended through time as a curse. And according to filmmaking, you mostly have seen the werewolf depicted as something that has been a curse. Someone that has been bitten by a werewolf. Someone has been, like, in cahoots with vampires, or you're a slave to a vampire because you are a werewolf or a wolf-like creature. Well, there has been one film that has depicted a werewolf, to take its shape as a result of a birthright. And I find that really cool because the film that did that is a Eurocentric film. It's a Hammer film, and the Hammer film is called The Curse of the Werewolf. Now, I'm not sure how much knowledge the filmmakers had of a nawal, because the nawal is pre-Columbian, Mesoamerican, as I've been talking about. That this thing has been known as, or people, has been known as a culture thing from the indigenous regions here in America, South America, and the likes of that. But what's interesting is that in the film, the Hammer film, is that it was made with characters that were supposed to have been Spanish, but the story, I believe, takes place in Spain. Now, naturally, through colonization, Spaniards have gone and colonized Mexico and South America and everything. And some could argue that there was an influence from the werewolf belief coming there. But again, according to indigenous beliefs, the nawal has always been around. And I'm almost done here with my nawal look. So I'm going to blend out my nose a little bit because I've got a little bit of a yellow going on down there. I'm gonna tap, 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 tap. And as I go over this a little bit, I'm gonna blend down, blend down. So, with everything being said, do I want to say if I believe in nawal? I don't know. I feel like it's all to everyone's interpretation. I just love telling stories. I love folklore. I love hearing stories. And because I have been involved in filmmaking and art for years, I love to paint. I love to draw. I love a good story. I love hearing backgrounds. And also, you know, part of my background, half of my family is from Mexico. And these stories have been so enticing. There's so much history here and all around the world combined. You know, I love how great it is that we could just tell stories and it just all transcends through time. So gonna line this a little bit. And this is my form of the nawal. And I think I'm going to feather out a little bit some gray. Because some people feel that there is a little bit of that color. A little bit of gray, a little bit of black, a little bit of brown. But I feel like the gray makes it pop a little bit. And let's see. I guess I can line. You know what? I've got a little bit of black somewhere too. Good. I have done special effects makeup for quite some time, like I said, over a decade. And, you know, I feel like we're constantly learning things. As an artist, and even as a makeup artist, there's so much color. There's art everywhere. It's in nature. And the story of the nawal really inspired me to get this look today. And it's a different feral look. It's a different shade of red. And so, as I close this, I'd like to say, should there be a spirit of a puma on the prowl, perhaps it's hunting for an evil black wolf's howl. So, thanks for joining me and watching my first video here at Whitscraftngore. I'm Whitney, la Hechicera del Horror. I'm working on my pronunciation because there's so much to learn and it's a beautiful thing, right? So, thanks for watching me. And if you enjoy what I'm showing here, I plan to show some artwork. I plan to do more makeup. So be sure to subscribe to my channel here at Whitscraftngore and follow my social medias at Facebook and Instagram. I'm Whitney M. Collazo at Facebook. Instagram is Whitscraftngore. And here, I'm Whitscraftngore, and thank you for joining me here. I'm Whitney, la Hechicera del Horror. Adiós.